Hi, I'm Naïma. Welcome back to my channel. A while back, I realised that my autonomic nervous system is completely out of whack. A few months ago, I made it my mission to calm my nervous system down. This video is about the top 3 things I have found to do just that. These are 3 things that will help you get yourself into the parasympathetic nervous system. First off, I'll start by telling you what that even means, because it's new to me, but it's something that has been instrumental in improving my long COVID symptoms. And then I'll talk about the top 3 things that are helping me. The autonomic nervous system is responsible for the involuntary functions of the human body. It has 2 strands. The first one is the parasympathetic. This controls the body's rest and digest response. And the second one is the sympathetic. This mobilizes the fight or flight mechanism. The more research I've done into long COVID and into my symptoms, the more I've become convinced that many of my symptoms are related to autonomic dysfunction. So my sympathetic nervous system is overactive. The only way I can describe what it felt when I initially got ill with long COVID in October 2020 was that my whole body was in overdrive. It felt like this thunderbolt had appeared into my chest and was running through my body, and I felt adrenalized all the time, even though I wasn't doing much at all. I'd never felt right in my body. And it's taken me a long time to understand what those symptoms could mean. The bad news about autonomic dysfunction is that it's very hard to diagnose and identify. Some of the symptoms include dizziness, palpitations, chest pains, digestive issues, all of which could be for other illnesses. But the good news is there are many things that you can do in the comfort of your own home to activate that parasympathetic state. First off, breath work. I've been doing regular breath work for 3 months now. And at the beginning I was thinking, why do I need to do this? I breathe all the time, but it's been really helping me to take the time out of my day to properly dedicate to breath work and breathing properly. An app called Stasis has been instrumental in making me take breathwork seriously and having it become a part of my daily practice. According to Stasis, a person who reaches the age of 80 will breathe 670 million times, and yet 80% of people display patterns and habits of dysfunctional breathing. The breath count for optimal functionality and performance is actually 252,288,000. So that's 2.65 fewer breaths. So learning to properly breathe affects the autonomic nervous system for positive results linked to heart rate, emotional regulation, stress, anxiety, and lots more health benefits. And what's great about Stasis is that every week you do a test called the MET and the BHT, and I've been doing it every week since I started, and every week it improves, and this shows signs of my breathing becoming less dysfunctional, so you can measure your progress and see how you're doing. Another option to consider is also Wim Hof, which I must credit to getting me into breathwork in the first place. These are 2 of the ways that you can start making breathwork a key part of your routine weekly or daily. For a long time, I thought resting was reading, watching TV, or even hanging out with friends. I learned the hard way during this long COVID journey that those things can only get you so far. But I have found that Yoga Nidra is that perfect sweet spot between the 2. It's not an active yoga practice, don't worry if you're not able to move your body as much at the moment. It's more similar to meditation than traditional yoga. It doesn't involve stretches or poses or anything like that. Yoga Nidra instead focuses on relaxing and reaching deep consciousness. Your brain's activity can be measured by the frequency of your brain waves, and there are 5 different types of brain waves. The first type are beta brain waves. This is when you're in an awake, normal, alert state. SMR brain waves, this is when you're in a calm, quietly alert state. Alpha brain waves in a more relaxed and calm brain state. Theta brain waves, which is when you're in a deeply relaxed, meditative brain state. And lastly, delta brain waves. This is when you're in a deep, dreamless sleep. And theta brain waves you can get to with meditation. So that is the second calmest state. And they're involved in daydreaming and relaxing and all of those processes, and some lighter states of sleep as well. Yoga Nidra actually allows you to access the same brain waves as when you're asleep, delta brainwaves. And these are responsible for healing and restoration that happens when you're in deep sleep. So you're actually getting that same level of rest without sleeping. And it works. My Apple Watch constantly thinks that I'm asleep when I'm doing Yoga Nidra. So it's a great way to catch up on rest and relax even more than when you're meditating. My heart rate lowers considerably during the Yoga Nidra practice, so I can only hope that my brain is switching off as well. I've heard Yoga Nidra described as closing all the tabs on a laptop and all the windows and closing all the programs down in your brain. And I just think that's a beautiful way to encapsulate such a relaxing practice. I'll share some of my favorite Yoga Nidra videos in the bar below as well. Diet is something that I've noticed can have such a big impact on my symptoms, and it can take a while to work out what it is that has caused a deterioration or an improvement in symptoms. There's no doubt to me that since getting long COVID, my body has not been able to digest food in the way that it used to. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for digestion as well. So being in fight or flight mode disproportionately can disrupt your digestion. Here's what is working for me at the moment when it comes to diet. Avoiding processed foods, eating whole foods like lentils, potatoes, rice, meat, dried fruit, vegetables, minimal sugar, dairy or gluten, and cutting out caffeine. Unfortunately. Learning more about the autonomic nervous system has been absolutely fascinating to me. And in some ways it's comforting for me to know that there are things I can do to override the sympathetic nervous system that I'm disproportionately in. I feel like I can get some of that control back. And it's something I didn't know a year ago, and I wish I knew sooner. I'd love to hear what you've learned about the autonomic nervous system and what things help you to stay in that calm state and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. It's such a strange illness to be deciphering, but I think there is a lot of resources that we can share. If you're interested in learning a bit more about where I am with my long COVID recovery, there's a video that's coming on screen now, and I'll see you in my next one.